No, I am not the first Bruneian to pass the bar exam in New York, but I am, and I believe that I'm the first Bruneian Fulbrighter to pass the New York bar exam. So perhaps I can lay claim to that title. Hi, I'm Nadia. I'm a Fulbrighter. I did my LLM in New York in 2016 at Columbia Law School, and I'm currently a lawyer in private practice. My year in New York was actually pretty tough. Columbia is extremely competitive because the LLM program is very international. So you're up against almost the brightest and smartest of people around the world. And then obviously you have to go the extra mile to make sure that you stand out. The Fulbright experience is really personal to everybody. But for me, it was an opportunity to take a break from the routine of life and work and just go and do something different for a while. Because in order to find out what you want to do, sometimes you have to do something totally different. And I thought that doing the LLM in a country that I'd never lived in would be an opportunity to push myself out of the comfort zone and to try new things that perhaps I would have otherwise not thought of. And perhaps that new experience, that new environment would pave the way to allow me to think about who I wanted to become and how I was going to go about doing it. It means that I am eligible to practice law in that particular jurisdiction. So passing the New York bar exam means that I can give advice on New York law, I can represent clients in New York, and I have rights of audience in New York courts. It doesn't mean that I know how to mix a cocktail or do fancy acrobatic moves at the bar.
Great.
New York is known as like the city that never sleeps, and that is legit true. The pace of life in New York is just extremely different. And it's not just people from outside the US that have this experience, but I actually bumped into a guy who lived in LA and he was visiting in New York. And he was saying like, people in New York are just constantly busy, and it's to the point where I feel like they're being rude, but I know that's not the case because it's just really busy and I don't have time to like say hello or, you know, exchange a few lines on how their day is going. And one of my favorite places to visit was the Met, where you can just spend hours getting lost in all the art. Except that it's not just art, right? Because it's like people across the centuries who leave a piece of them behind to share with you. Yeah, and you can spend hours just wandering around all the galleries. There's also this organization called One to World, which is affiliated with the Fulbright program, I think. So what they do is they link Fulbrighters, other Fulbrighters who are also in New York at the same time with you. And they organize events like, going to visit the UN or like doing yoga in Central Park or volunteering at a charity. But one of the events that really stood out was this cruise that I did along the Hudson River. And it was during fall. And like legit from every single angle, it looked like the most perfect watercolor painting. After my LLM, I applied for and I received a fellowship at the CCSI, which stands for Columbia Center on Sustainable Investment. And that fellowship was over the summer months, which also coincided with the fasting month. So I was pulling like 18-hour fasts each day, guys. We would start fasting at like 2 a.m. and then my group would be at about 8 p.m. But since we were approaching summer, like the day got progressively longer. So towards the end of Ramadan, so it was like almost 19 hours. But my supervisor was actually really understanding. He knew I was going like 18 hours without food and drink. And at that time, New York was actually pretty progressive with like work from home arrangements like 4 years before COVID. So I was exercising like the work from home card pretty frequently throughout the month. The whole experience really made me sit down and reevaluate what was important to me in terms of like what I wanted to achieve in my short time here on Earth. So when I came back, I resigned. It was a job that I've been working for the last 10 years, and it was my first job out of uni. So I really wanted to just push myself to step out of my comfort zone. And I stepped into the frenetic world of private practice, where it is of utmost importance to always be giving the most competent legal professional advice to your clients. But at the same time, it's equally important to be able to market your skills and run a successful business. But 6 years later, I'm still here and I am thoroughly enjoying it. Before you start your application process, just sit down and have a think about what you want to achieve from your time doing your master's in the US. When you're looking at universities, make sure you pick courses that are commensurate with your academic qualifications and with any work experience that you have. The US Embassy is always the best first stop of information. The people there are extremely friendly and they're like more than willing to point you in the right direction. Just to reach out to ex-Bruneian Fulbrighters, they'll be able to give you like their hacks and tips on the application process, what kind of questions were asked during the interview, how to handle it, and also more like practical tips about moving to New York, like what kind of route they use, what kind of airlines they use, what to bring, how to handle immigration, how to use the transport system when you get there. If you're looking for more information on the Fulbright program and the scholarship, you can also check out the Fulbright program via Education USA at the US Embassy.